good morning everyone. Thanks for joining me on my channel. Hope you're all well. This morning, no specific plans. We've had a period of really hot weather, often seeing 42, 43 and even up to 47 degrees Celsius during the day, so I haven't done much photography. Also, it's been clear skies, so not much interest in the sky. But this morning it's a bit cloudy. There's a breeze, as you might be hearing on the microphone here, but I'm going to take a walk, see what I can find. No specific plans, just see what the status of the environment is at the moment after the rain and then the heat, and maybe I can find something. I'm inviting you to come along. Let's see if we can capture anything. Really dry after the severe heat that we've had. The rain of 2 weeks ago now, no sign of it, and everything's gone back to its barren state. I see most of the flowers are now gone, but yes, the plants seem quite healthy. The little boost that they got was great. It would have been nice if there was some follow-up rain as well. We're about halfway through our rainy season, and yes, we are below average, I think, as far as rain is concerned, but there's still hope. Normally January, February, end of January and February can produce some good rain in this region. But yes, everything is dry, no flowers for me today, no nicely blooming lichen or anything like that. I'm most likely going to have to be satisfied with some rocky arrangement or something like that unless I find something special. But I do want to explore this particular area. This is two little rocky ridges here that I want to have a look at. I think they have potential for specifically sunrise, but also late afternoon light would also be quite nice on them, I think. You can see we're coming up to the first ridge here, a rocky outcrop, and there are lots of nice leading lines here to be found, as you can see down here, and then also lots of interesting plants, some succulents, and also some gnarly bushes. There's an aloe, but on top of this ridge is almost like a path with rocks on both sides. I think somewhere here I can find a composition. If you've watched some of my earlier videos, you might recognize this rock over here. I've used this rock before in a composition along with some of those aloes, but they were looking a bit better than they're looking now, and they were flowering at one point. But lots of interesting lichen around here. This particular rock, if you look at it, it's got that orangey lichen and also the light greenish lichen on it. By the way, that light greenish one, when it gets wet, it actually turns a darker green, beautiful darker green, and it swells up within an hour or two of the rain. There in the distance you can see the second rocky ridge that runs parallel to this one, but it drops down quite quickly. Now, I think first I want to explore the side of this ridge. Look at this interesting, what should we call it, a shrub? It's not quite a tree yet, but it's full of lichen and rather interesting. There's actually two of them by the looks of it. You can see, I think it's actually two separate trees, but I'm sure this could be used somewhere in a composition. Just need to decide, do I just want to isolate it? But for that I need fog, and yeah, that doesn't happen often around here. Or can I use it in combination with something else? Oh, just look at this beautiful tree. Look at this. Look at the color of the bark. It's actually not the color of the tree. It's absolutely covered with lichen. Beautiful. I think I'm going to try and do something with this. Maybe I can find a composition here even in this rather bad light, but there's some side light every now and then. The sun appears to try to peek out. So maybe I can make a plan here, quickly set up and see if I can find a composition. Well, I'm still waiting for some light. Every now and then the sun threatens to just peek through the clouds, and it would be nice for some nice filtered side light. But the clouds are quite thick, so I'm not sure if that's going to happen. And of course, when it does break through, it'll be harsh because it's already too late in the morning. But maybe, just maybe, I'll get a bit of filtered side light. It's worth a try. But this scene where I am right now, I'm really liking this. The more I look at the tree and the rocks, the more I love it. Let me just show you again. Here in the foreground, we have a nice collection of rocks from that one, which will be in the very foreground of the image. Then working our way up, we've got some rocks in the midground, beautiful lichen on them, orangey colors, and then of course that beautiful tree in the background that I really like. Unfortunately, there's no more interest in the clouds, but there's a bit. Maybe I can do a bit with it in post-processing, get a bit more texture to the clouds. Either that or just make sure they're out of focus completely, just grey. But I don't think that would be very appealing. But yes, this whole area is beautiful. I can see some potential in this whole rock formation here. As you can see, it leads in that direction, and of course that's roughly round about there where we would have sunrise. So maybe in the future I can do something with that. Well, I'm not quite sure if this is going to work. Can't get total separation from the background. I'm really low at ground level. Shooting at 24mm at the moment, but on the left hand side, unfortunately, the tree is just leaning over a tiny bit too much for my liking, but I can't really go much lower. But what I do like about it is the way it leans over, exposing those gorgeous tree trunks. The ones to the left, there are actually two of them that are kind of intertwined. I don't know, maybe I can do a close-up shot of that as well. And of course in the foreground here there's that aloe that has actually fallen over, but I think it would add some foreground interest. But there's really no midground. Well, the tree will be the midground, and the background there's no real interest, and there's no real nice rocks, not from this angle anyway. But I'm going to shoot this and hope for the best. Maybe there's something usable here. Let's see. Unfortunately, there's no real light at the moment. I'm hoping for some side light just now, but it might or it might not happen. But I'm taking the shot anyway, just as a record of the place. Maybe I can come back with some better conditions, maybe some interesting clouds behind it as well. Shooting at f11, ISO 100, about 125th of a second. That should do it. No need for any bracketing or anything. I actually think this might be a more interesting composition. I've zoomed in, I'm at about 100mm now. Just using the aloe in the foreground, and then the tree trunks, the twisted tree trunks behind it. And since we've got cloud in the background, it's not too bright. I don't think it'll be a problem, but I might end up taking just two shots. One exposed for the tree and one for the background to make sure I don't burn out the background. But I probably don't need it. Now here's actually a composition I like even more. I've moved even further back, and I'm now using the rock formation in the bottom left hand corner to lead your eye into the image towards the tree. Again, the tree is not really separated from the background, but I believe it's very light colored tree trunk and some of the branches will actually help with that. I can maybe even lift that up in post-processing a bit. But I think this particular composition would probably benefit from being more square. Get rid of the right and the left hand side. There's just no real interest there. And just make it a square crop. Let's see what we can do. Maybe that'll work. I believe something like this could work. Maybe a slightly more zoomed out version. I'm on 24mm here, but again the video camera crops a bit compared to the full sensor. But I love the rocks in the foreground. They've got lots of character, and if you zoom into the image, you'll find there are lots of little colonies of lichen on them and tiny little plants, different colors. There's like a grayish lichen with some black in them, and then there's the orange stuff, and then the normal. There's probably, there's some of the light grey stuff as well, the greenish grey. So all in all, very interesting. The rocks lead your eye to the tree trunk that takes you up into the top of the tree. And it almost looks like the tree is growing out of the rocks, which isn't quite true, but it might make for a nice image. I did focus bracket this shot. The rock on the bottom left, the bottom front, towards the front, is very close to the camera. So I focused on that, took one image, and I took one about halfway through the image on the rocks, focused there and took an image, photo, and then of course I focused right on the back on the tree. So I'm not sure if I'm going to need it. I'm shooting this at f14, but even at f14 that we're getting into diffraction area there. I'm probably going to shoot it again at maybe f9 or f10. Again, 3 shots. It might get it slightly sharper. Well, this is not going to work now, but I think maybe late afternoon or sunset, and this particular composition could work. Tree, my currently favorite tree, top right hand, or on the third at least, and then in the foreground these rock formations, and then in the distance towards the top left, the hills, mountains, and then the sunset somewhere around there, and hopefully with lots of color in the sky. Now I just need to find the right conditions, but I think it definitely is workable. If clouds light up nicely, because the sun won't be exactly directly, it'll just be to the left of this frame this time of the year, but if the clouds light up nicely, then there'll be some beautiful color on both the tree and the rocks in the foreground. So yes, this tree has potential for sunrise and sunset, and in between with some nice side light, which I didn't get today. I've actually disabled the APC setting on the video mode of this camera, so that I can actually get some, well, very similar view on the video mode as I can get on the photo mode. So this is really the composition I want to show you that I think has potential. Well, both sunrise and sunset. Sunrise, the sun will be behind me, maybe some nice colors that'll especially light up the tree with a light tree trunk, or sunset with the sun just to the left, top right hand, or left hand, sorry, top left hand corner, maybe with some light in the sky, and then some beautiful ambient light on the rocks in the front, and then the tree in the back. The rocks I'm happy with. They run diagonal from bottom right towards top left. I would have loved it if they were turned more towards the tree, but it leads your eye from bottom right towards top left, and then the slope turns your eye back towards the tree. Well, I'm hoping it will anyway. But I think this composition does have potential. All the little gnarly bushes, the rocks, the tree, the mountain in the background. I just need some color in the sky and beautiful light, and this might be a portfolio shot. Just look at this interesting lichen. It seems to grow out in rings from the center. Well, it looks like it started towards the center or towards the bottom, and now it's growing onto the top rock in rings. The the older part of the ring is darker and then the newer bits are lighter. Actually quite interesting, and maybe there's potential here for an abstract composition. Let me see if I can find something. I quite like this composition. The little piece of dead plant material in the foreground leading to another one slightly further up, and then there's a tiny little flower plant that I think just flowered at the bottom end of the rock that is covered with lichen. And then further up, higher up, you get like the lichen that is in a semicircle that looks like the top of a tree. And then behind that there's a rock covered with orangey lichen. It's almost like the rock at the top is clouds in the background with a sunset just to the left, and then the tree in the foreground. I'm going to probably take at least 3 images, focus on the front, the closest piece of plant material, and then in the middle and at the top, just to make sure that I've got depth, the right depth of field throughout the image. I'm actually shooting this at about 150 millimeters. I would have liked maybe a macro lens would have been better, but I only have this lens with me, so let's see what we can do. Well, given the conditions of not perfect light, the light that didn't arrive for my main interest, which was the tree, I believe that maybe, just maybe, this image of my little lichen tree will be the best one of the shoot. But you be the judge. Which one do you prefer? Please let me know in the comments. Well, everyone, I think that's it for this morning. It was a bit of a mixed batch. First I thought the light would help and I would find some nice compositions. Then the light didn't happen. Then I found the tree that I really liked with the rocks, and I made something out of that. Well, I hope I made something out of that. You would have seen that by now. But then as I thought, well, that's it, let me pack up, the light's not going to happen, I saw the little lichen composition on the rock. Then my imagination started running away, and soon that little lichen on the rock was a lichen tree on the rock with the sunset behind it. But anyway, hopefully that worked. That might just be, I think at this point, I think that might just be the best image of this shoot. But yes, turned out better than I thought, even though I didn't really have good light. And I'll definitely need to come back to that tree. But thanks for watching so far. If you have any comments, please let me know below. If you like what you saw and you want to see more of my videos, please click like, or you can subscribe. Then you'll get a notification if you click the bell as well of all my new videos when I release them. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Till next time, stay safe and stay happy. Cheerio.